Guys, so today is Wednesday. It's the last day for session one. And I want to do a quick, just sort of, I guess, kind of overview and answering questions and kind of talking about like work for this week. And kind of try to get some answers to questions that have kind of been coming up from people like all at one time. Um, so I'm gonna start by just, oh, sorry, make my screen just a little bit bigger here. Okay, I'm going to start by just sort of reiterating that while this to-do list is a great sort of guide because it does let you like see due dates and things like that, it's always best to go to the calendar and work through the module as listed. So as you see for this week, I try to put at the beginning of the weekly calendar, I try to put what the week we're on at the top so it's a little bit easier to find. And you can go to the calendar. So for this week we have an optional quiz, which is just sort of a recap. So when you click on it, it's just me sort of going through, like using some student work from last week and kind of going over and kind of wrapping up from some of the things that we did last week. Again, it's up. Then next is starting kind of getting into genre. So the first thing is just, oh, sorry, my screen did something weird. Is just sort of introducing like some of the misconceptions that we have about like what sort of counts as a genre. So what a quick video, like what is a genre, what isn't, and also kind of complicating that a little bit with an example. And then kind of getting into then like a little bit more in detail about what reasons why we study genre, like what it helps you do as a writer and as a reader, and then also kind of as you scroll down, like thinking about what does it help us kind of figure out, what are the five main ways that genre is going to like impact, like what is it going to help you determine about a text in terms of how you're going to write, things that might determine like even if you're reading, like what helped determine like how that writer was going to write that particular piece. And then again, also like a little example with that, and then a little quiz. And again, like the quizzes are just kind of there to help. It is kind of a separate grade because it also kind of tracks like reading and understanding of some of the things that we're doing. But at the same time, it's more of you get to take it multiple times. It's more of a good way to like practice and review and figure out what you have some questions about, and lots of bonuses are built in. So it's also a nice little grade booster. Let's see. And then we're going to get into a little bit of multimodality, and I talk about genre and modes together because I feel like you can't talk about them separately. And I think hopefully as you go through this lesson, you'll see sort of why, like as you start thinking more about like what counts as a text and it being more than just things that are like words. That also sort of like opens up the gate to talk about genre and modes. So you have a quick reading here, and it's just, I did tell you like kind of where to stop at. You're just reading the beginning of the piece, the first couple, I say couple, like 9 is like a couple of pages. Sorry. And then this is something that you are going to put in your writing folder. Now I want to clarify, you have 2 folders in your writing folder right now. So you have everything so far. We have not started studio work. So everything right now is in your daily work folder. It's just stuff that's like daily for class and things that we're working on. And then we are about to start studio work. It'll go in those folders. As we start creating major assignments, you'll create separate files for those. So just sort of a clarification there. So this is a little bit different because it's not going to be collaborative. I've asked you to please, of course, I went over a little bit last week about how to like quote and paraphrase points from the text. I don't necessarily quiz on readings themselves. As I'm looking through your response, I should be able to tell that you're engaging with the reading because you're pulling directly from it when you're responding to it. And I ask you to reference 3 of the 5 modes in your response. And then this just again goes in your writing folder. You're not replying, no one else is seeing it but me. You're not replying to anyone with this. And then another specific lesson that's just kind of on the 5 modes with, again, some examples, just sort of complicating it a little bit, like I apparently like to do. And then a discussion with an example with one of my favorite cheesy videos of all time. And then you are going to reply to one peer for this one. And then what I said on the calendar, and I'm actually going to go back to the calendar just for a minute here. So you can, I do include some links on here. So while you can just sort of move through the module, you can also, go to each session and kind of click on links. So where I sort of ended was going through these lessons here in session 2. One of the things I'm doing with just the last part of the week mainly is having you sort of at least take that first look and do some basic stuff with with the inquiry project assignment sheet and quiz. Look over the first page of your studio module. It just explains kind of a little bit about what studios are, and look over the directions for the first studio. We're going to be kind of when you come back from your break, like diving in like really fast with the project. So this is just a way to look at it, ask questions about it before we really start to like dive in with things. So I'm going to go back and click here, and this is just an overview. So here's where you can click on the assignment sheet. So what I've asked you to do is just read the assignment sheet, watch the video of me kind of going over the project as a whole, including this list of banned topics, things that you can't use for this project or need to talk about. Take the quiz, post questions in the coffee shop. And then the next thing is to overview Studio One. So when you get to the end of the module, there'll be a place to click here to navigate to the Studios module. So when you click here, it's going to take you to your Studios module for you to look over. Let me just pull this window up a little bit. For you to look over what is a studio, and to also look over. So if you go to this, it just kind of explains a little bit about what studios are before you look over module 1, which is what I've asked you to do. So the module for Studio One, there are 3 pages included in this module for you to look over. It is due February 21st. So you have a week after you come back from the break. So it's not something to start now, just as part of going over the project. Go ahead and be looking over it because it is our first module, or our first studio activity. So just kind of be aware of that. And then you'll also find the video directions for this assignment on the first page. And then I am actually going to go back to modules just to also clarify that you can find this. I've moved the inquiry project module to the top so you can see your assignment sheets and everything very clearly at the top, followed by the office hours and then the weekly schedule. All right. So if you have any questions about anything, again, post in the coffee shop or send me an email, come to office hours, let me know. Peace.